Have you ever felt like money is a friend, but the kind of friend who always gets on your nerves? Sometimes it disappears without a trace, sometimes it sparks arguments at home, and other times it makes you jealous when you look at your neighbors. Paco de Leon believes that if you want to change your financial life, you first have to understand your relationship with money. Finance for the People isn't a get-rich-quick book. It's more like a mirror, helping you reflect on how you think, feel, and behave with money every single day. Because if you don't understand yourself, no tool or finance app can really take you the distance. And if you've ever asked yourself, why do I spend my whole life working for money but still feel like it's never enough? This is the journey that can help you find the answer. Hit like, subscribe, and follow to keep exploring powerful book summaries and discover how to make money your ally, rather than the reason you lose sleep at night. Part 1. Weird about money. Exploring your personal relationship with money. Paco de Leon points out that most of us have a strange relationship with money. It's not just numbers on a balance sheet. It's tied to emotions, memories, and deep-seated beliefs we absorb from our environment. That's why two people with the same income can behave completely differently with their finances. For example, imagine a man growing up in the Midwest, where his parents taught him that debt is a sin. As an adult, he avoids credit cards, always pays in cash, and saves every penny. The result, he stays out of debt, but also misses the chance to build credit, which, in the US, is the gateway to opportunities like buying a home or securing a business loan. On the other hand, a young woman in Los Angeles grew up in a family that linked money with living large. For her, credit cards were a way to prove her worth. As soon as she landed her first job, she splurged on designer clothes and fancy restaurants. To her, money wasn't just about meeting needs. It was about showing the world she was successful. The consequence? Within just a few years, she was stuck with nearly $20,000 in credit card debt, dreading every bill that came in. Paco calls this being weird about money, the contradictions in how we deal with it. Nobody is completely rational because every financial choice is shaped by personal experiences and beliefs. And if you don't recognize those patterns, you'll keep repeating the same cycles, either holding yourself back or overspending, never truly feeling free. That's why Paco suggests the starting point isn't a finance app or a magic investment formula. It begins with self-reflection. What emotions does money trigger for you? Anxiety, guilt, pride, or freedom? And where do those feelings come from? Only when you can answer that will you start to rewrite your relationship with money. Part 2. Rethinking spending and habits. Paco de Leon emphasizes that if you want to take control of your finances, you need to shift the way you think about spending. Money isn't just something to earn and burn, it's a form of energy that reflects your priorities and your daily habits. Many Americans fall into a familiar cycle. Paycheck comes in, money goes out, and then they wait for the next paycheck. They believe, if I just earn more, things will get better. But Paco points out that the problem isn't income, it's how you manage your spending habits. If you can't handle $40,000 a year well, you could be making $100,000 and still feel broke. He suggests a new mindset. Instead of seeing spending as a loss, view it as a conscious choice. When you pay $300 a month to live in a comfortable apartment close to work, you're really buying time and convenience. When you spend $50 a week on fast food, you're trading long-term health for short-term convenience. The real question isn't, should I spend or not, but am I spending in a way that aligns with the values I truly care about? Take David, a 35-year-old from Texas. He once obsessed over owning a brand new pickup truck. Each month, he paid nearly $800 on his auto loan, while constantly complaining he had no savings. After doing Paco's exercise, tracking every expense, and asking, does this actually serve the life I want? David realized the truck didn't make him happy, it only added financial pressure. He sold it and bought a used one at half the cost. That simple decision freed up $400 a month, which he began putting into an emergency fund. Paco reminds us, spending habits don't change overnight. They're like exercise. You don't need a perfect plan on day one, you need awareness and small, steady adjustments. Every time you cook at home instead of ordering takeout or set limits on emotional shopping, you're laying the bricks of new habits, the foundation for future financial freedom. The core lesson is this: Your spending doesn't just reveal how much money you have. It reveals who you are and what you value. Once you shift this perspective, you no longer feel controlled by money. Instead, you become the one in control. Part 3. Awakening your money through daily behavior. Paco de Leon emphasizes that money doesn't slip away because of the big life decisions, like buying a house or choosing a college, but because of the small, repeated behaviors you practice every day. It might be an online shopping cart full of today-only sales, or leaving cash idle in a savings account earning almost zero interest. He calls these micro-money behaviors, like small bricks stacked on top of one another. They determine whether your financial house stands strong or falls apart. A clear example: the average American spends over $300 a year on unused subscriptions, fitness apps, streaming services, or meal kit deliveries. Simply cleaning them up and canceling can free up enough money to start an ETF investment account or buy fractional shares on Robinhood. It's not a massive change, but it wakes up money that's been sleeping. Paco also recommends using automation to make financial behavior nearly effortless. Instead of reminding yourself to save, set up an automatic transfer of $50 or $100 each time your paycheck hits. Just like turning on auto pay for your credit card to avoid late fees, automating savings means you don't need ironclad discipline. You only need to set it up once and let the system do the work. Another illustration: during the pandemic, many American families discovered that cooking at home instead of eating out not only improved their health, but also saved an average of $200 to $400 per month. If that amount were invested at a 7% annual return, it could grow into over $50,000 in just 10 years. Not because of one big decision, but through a simple, repeated daily behavior. Paco concludes, you don't have to overhaul your entire life to transform your finances. You just need to adjust small habits, then let time and consistency compound the results. Like exercise, it's not the single hardest workout that makes you strong. It's the daily habit of moving your body. Part 4. Dealing with debt and learning to use it wisely. Paco de Leon doesn't see debt as the ultimate enemy. Instead, he views it as a double-edged financial tool. The problem isn't that debt exists, it's how you use it. Debt can become a burden that keeps you up at night, but when managed properly, it can also be a lever that helps you reach your goals faster. In his book, Paco divides debt into 2 categories: bad debt, credit card balances with 18 to 25% annual interest rates, or consumer loans for luxury items. This kind of debt makes you poorer over time because of compounding interest. Good debt, reasonable student loans that invest in your education, or a mortgage with a low interest rate where the underlying asset can appreciate in value over time. The key is learning to clearly distinguish between the two and having a strategy to manage them. For instance, the average American carries around $6,000 in credit card debt. If they only make minimum payments each month, it could take over 10 years to pay it off because of sky-high interest rates. Paco advises tackling this kind of debt first, using either the avalanche method, paying off the highest interest balance first, or the snowball method, paying off the smallest balance first to build momentum. Whichever you choose, the point is to stay proactive instead of letting debt control you. On the flip side, there are situations where debt can be part of a smart financial plan. For example, a young American family buys their first home with a 30-year mortgage at 4%. While the loan is large, instead of draining their finances, it gives them an asset that may increase in value over time and could even generate income if they decide to rent it out later. Paco also stresses that debt isn't just about numbers, it's about emotions. Many people feel guilt or shame about debt, to the point where they avoid even opening their monthly bills. But the solution isn't avoidance, it's facing it head-on. Write down every debt you have, along with its interest rate and term. Only when you confront it can you start building a plan to manage it. Finally, he offers a realistic perspective. Not everyone can pay off all their debts immediately. What you can do is make debt a calculated part of your financial system. Know which debts you need to pay down aggressively, which ones you can hold,
And most importantly, don't let greed or impulsive emotions pull you into a new cycle of borrowing.
Part 5. Investing and passive income through the habit of saving. Paco de Leon emphasizes an important truth. No one gets rich just by saving. Saving builds a safety net, but it's only when you invest that your money truly starts working for you. And the good news is you don't need a huge lump sum to begin. What you need is a consistent saving and investing habit. According to Paco, investing isn't a gamble, it's a disciplined system. Setting aside a portion of your income each month and putting it into long-term income-generating assets such as index funds, 401k retirement accounts, IRAs, or real estate. The real difference comes from consistency over time, not quick wins. Here's a common example for Americans. If you put $200 a month into an S&P 500 index fund with an average annual return of 7%, after 30 years, you could end up with over $240,000. That number doesn't come from big wins, but from the power of compound interest and the habit of staying invested. Paco also highlights the concept of passive income, cash flow that doesn't require your daily labor. This can come from dividends, bond interest, rental income, or even digital products that generate long-term revenue. But in order to have passive income later, you must first actively save and invest. Take James, a 32-year-old who started with an average salary and little extra cash. He opened a Roth IRA and committed $150 a month. After a few years, James noticed not only had his contributions grown, but his dividends were automatically reinvested. He said, "It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything huge, but my account just keeps growing." That's passive income, money making more money. On the flip side, Paco warns that many young people get caught up in the dream of getting rich quick with crypto or meme stocks like GameStop and Dogecoin. These can bring fast gains, but can just as easily wipe out the money you worked so hard to save. The lesson? Distinguish between long-term investing for wealth building and short-term gambling for thrills. A little experimentation is fine, but your foundation should always be in sustainable assets. Paco's final reminder is investing isn't a privilege reserved for the wealthy. It's a habit anyone can build, whether with $5, $50, or $500. Stick with it long enough and you'll reach the point where your money starts creating more money. That's when the door to financial freedom begins to open. Part 6. Protecting assets and building holistic wealth. Paco de Leon reminds us of something many people overlook. Building wealth is hard, but protecting it is even more important. You can invest wisely and save with discipline, but a single event, a car accident, a lawsuit, or an unexpected medical bill can wipe out years of progress. That's why protecting your assets isn't a final step, but a foundation that runs alongside wealth building. First, Paco stresses the role of insurance, health, auto, and life. These aren't wasted expenses, they're financial shields. In fact, in the US, medical debt is one of the leading causes of personal bankruptcy. A single hospital stay can cost tens of thousands of dollars. With insurance, you're not just protecting yourself, you're safeguarding your family's financial future. Asset protection also involves legal planning. Paco suggests that everyone should at least have a basic will or trust. This isn't only for the wealthy. Even if you just own a modest home or a small investment account, having a plan ensures your assets are distributed clearly, avoids disputes, and most importantly, reflects your true wishes. Next comes diversification. No one wants to see their entire wealth vanish because it was tied up in a single stock or one type of asset. A truly well-rounded portfolio includes not only stocks, but also bonds, index funds, real estate, and even additional income streams like a small side business. The goal isn't to maximize returns at all costs, but to strike the right balance between growth and safety. Paco also offers a modern perspective. Holistic wealth isn't just about money. It includes peace of mind and the freedom to choose. For example, someone may not be a millionaire,
But if they have saved enough to avoid being trapped in a job they hate, have insurance to feel secure about their health, and generate enough passive income to cover basic expenses, that is a form of true wealth. Consider Lisa, a 40-year-old elementary school teacher. She doesn't earn a huge salary, but for years she has consistently saved and invested. Lisa has good health insurance, an emergency fund covering 6 months of expenses, and a growing retirement account. Most importantly, she's written a simple will to ensure her assets go to her daughter. Lisa may not be Wall Street wealthy, but she embodies holistic wealth, financial stability, peace of mind, and control over her future. Paco's message is clear. Wealth isn't just a number in your bank account. It's the combination of tangible assets, money, real estate, investments, and intangible assets like health, security, relationships, and a sense of autonomy. Only when you build and protect both do you truly reach sustainable financial freedom. Finance for the People doesn't hand you a rigid formula for getting rich. Paco shows us that money isn't just numbers. It's a mirror reflecting our relationships, habits, and beliefs. When you face your fears, shift your daily behaviors, learn to use debt wisely, invest consistently, and protect your assets, you're laying the foundation for a future of true freedom. The final message is clear. You don't need to be a financial expert to take control of your money. You just need to start where you are with small but steady steps. Wealth isn't about running faster than everyone else. It's about creating a life you genuinely want to live. Safe, independent, and meaningful. If you found these lessons helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow the channel so we can continue this journey together toward financial freedom. Because money is only a tool. The power to write your life story has always been in your hands.